están aquí. Estamos en solidaridad con la gente chilena. Sigue adelante hasta victoria.
Yo estoy aquí para decir que un nuevo pacto social no significa más medidas superficiales, significa una nueva constitución que funcione para el beneficio de todos, no solo de algunos.
I'm here for democracy and justice in the United States, in Chile, in the whole world. ¡Viva Chile!
Por los compañeros que están en la calle luchando ahí, resistiendo a las fuerzas represivas.
Chile despertó, no se va a dormir nunca más. Esta es la respuesta. Amor, cultura y poder.
Desde San Francisco, en todo mi corazón, fuerza Chile.
Estamos aquí porque no nos cansamos de luchar y porque ya no tenemos miedo de nada. Vamos con todo.
No estamos en guerra. ¡Fuera los militares de la calle!
Estamos aquí por la paz y por la justicia para Chile, para toda Latinoamérica. Chile despertó y que despierte toda Latinoamérica.
Estoy aquí para pedir que Piñera se vaya y todos esos sinvergüenzas que están destruyendo nuestro país y que la paz vuelva con amor, más que eso, porque así es la única forma.
Estamos aquí por Chile, por nuestros hijos, porque haya un Chile más justo y con menos desigualdad.
¡Renuncia Piñera! ¡Renuncia Piñera! ¡Renuncia Piñera! ¡Jamás será vencido! ¡El pueblo unido! 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 ¡Jamás será vencido! El pueblo unido jamás será vencido. El pueblo unido jamás será vencido.
Quiero llamar a más chilenos aquí para que conversen sobre la experiencia que tuvieron en ese tiempo y que cómo esto le está afectando también. Quiero ver si hay alguien que quiera hablar. ¿Querías hablar?
Buenos días y fuerza mi gente, fuerza Chile. Estoy aquí representando a un humilde pueblito que se llama Puerto Rico, que conoce esta historia muy bien. Es una historia bien corta. Este mismo verano, como muchos saben, nosotros nos vimos en una situación donde no había manifestaciones que unan un pueblo entero en nuestra historia, en realidad. No había un momento que nos una, que nos vaya a cruzar de las clases sociales, de los puntos de vista y las perspectivas políticas, pero vino uno de los títeres del neoliberalismo y empezó a atacar a la gente y de noche a mañana hubo un movimiento en las calles enfrente de la fortaleza en Puerto Rico que tomó la isla por completa y todo el mundo salió a las calles, todo el mundo se unió. Y lo que todo el mundo decía que no podía pasar, sucedió. Y ese pueblito que es humilde, que no tiene la plata que a veces queremos tener, que no tiene los medios de comunicación a su lado, sacó un gobernador de su poder y cambió la política y la identidad en Puerto Rico. Ahora los jóvenes y la gente de Puerto Rico entienden que el pueblo tiene el poder y que solamente si nosotros nos dejamos, ellos nos pisan. Y yo creo que lo mismo está sucediendo en Chile, y por eso estamos con ustedes, por eso pedimos solidaridad a nuestro pueblo. Ustedes estuvieron ahí con nosotros y nosotros estamos ahí con ustedes, así que fuerza Chile. Y como hoy se trata...
Mi solidaridad personal y como comunidad inmigrante mexicana aquí en los Estados Unidos y también latinoamericana. Nosotros estamos con ustedes, nos duele mucho lo que está pasando, nos duelen los muertos, la represión, el ejército en las calles. Y también nos da mucha alegría, como decía el compañero, la juventud, esa energía impresionante de los muchachos que nos da una gran esperanza, no solamente a los chilenos, sino a toda América Latina y los demás personas en Chile, los trabajadores que los han acompañado, que no los han dejado solos y que están llamando a estas huelgas generales, estos paros generales, son una cosa muy, pues que nos da mucha esperanza, mucha alegría. Y quería solamente expresar esa solidaridad, no están solos. Ahorita muchos de nosotros obviamente estamos trabajando y ahorita ya me tengo que ir, pero que sepan que estamos con ustedes no solamente aquí en San Francisco, sino en todo el país y en todos los países. En México se hicieron ya varios actos en la Ciudad de México en solidaridad con el pueblo chileno. Y pues adelante, compañeros, muchas gracias.
My name is Pablo Paredes. I'm a Puerto Rican in solidarity with the resistance in Chile.
And what are the issues that are concerning you about what's going on in Chile in relationship to Puerto Rico?
Well, for me, it looks a lot like what just happened in Puerto Rico, where Ricardo Rosselló, who was our governor, clearly wasn't governing for the people, and launched an assault on the people covertly that we discovered, and then the people came together and pushed them out. And I think people are seeing the same thing in Sebastián Piñera in Chile. So we're with the people.
And privatization?
Big time privatization. Puerto Rico's fighting a law of privatization right now of all of our public areas. So we understand that fight well.
Healthcare, education?
All of it.
How is it affecting the people of Puerto Rico?
Oh my God, Puerto Rico is the best place to study everything that's wrong with the privatization of education. Right now, it's like over 800 schools closed in a matter of a year on an island that's 100 miles by 35. So we understand that very well. All of the issues that are jumping off about, the social safety net disappearing and the privatization of life, period, and the wages continuing to be stagnant. Puerto Rico's been in the recession since before the recession happened here, and well into after it was declared over here. So we understand that well, and we're in solidarity.
And it seems like there's an explosion all over the world. Ecuador, Peru.
Yeah.
Is this capitalism, or is this forcing people?
It feels like something's in the air. The neoliberalism's on its last leg.
That Sergio Vasa, who is a constitutional lawyer who was making a presentation yesterday in front of the National Institute of Human Rights, he says the situation in Chile is very worrisome because the Chilean government right now is functioning as a state of exception within a state of exception. In other words, all of the faculties or all of the rights that the military has given itself, or that the government of Piñera has done through the all of the rights of the military are violating right now. They're violating against the actual Constitution. They have no right to detain anyone under the curfew. No rights whatsoever. No legal basis. They're working outside the normal legal grounds. So the whole entire system is screwed. It is completely off the books. Todo el sistema bajo el cual se está funcionando Chile en estos momentos en un estado de excepción dentro de estados de excepción. The military right now is not giving numbers to the actual agencies, the national agencies. So the last numbers that we've gotten in terms of people who've been detained are 1,908. There's been 269 seriously injured. Seriously injured means they've actually been shot in the eye and in areas of the body where it causes serious lethal harm, potential lethal harm. There's been 15 deaths so far reported in Santiago. And right now there's cases and there's claims and cases against the Chilean government and the military and the police for 18 cases of torture. 18 cases of torture, including torture in the metro station Baquedano, where witnesses who weren't tortured themselves stated that they saw people being hung up by their wrists and blood. Let's just stop for a minute and think about that. We said that in Chile, we said nunca más in Chile. That's what we said 30 years ago, right? We said que la alegría ya viene. That now happiness would be coming. What happened? What happened to that?
Nunca llegó.
It never arrived. Exactly. It never arrived. We were there 30 years ago. Some were there even before 30 years ago. We were there 30 years ago. During the plebiscite, even before the plebiscite, But even after the plebiscite, we had our leaders shot in the streets, assassinated by police forces, like Gerhard Neme in 1989. We had shantytown dwellers who participated in demonstrations in the Población La Legua. I remember it at that time in 1990. I remember when a woman who was 8 months pregnant was shot by the police. Not only shot once, shot twice. Remato in 1990. And what did the political parties do at that time? Or the mainstream political parties? They blamed the left for that. They blamed the left because she shouldn't have been out there demonstrating to begin with. That is the premise under which this regime was built. The premise of a constitution that was created by a military dictatorship. It was a military dictatorship premise. It was the premise of a neoliberal economic model that has people starving. More than half of the people in Chile live with minimum wage. That's 300,000 pesos a month. That is the equivalent of, someone help me, $420, I believe, or $500 a month? Yeah. So a fare hike, even of 30 pesos, means 20% of the income of the average worker. We have pensioners who earn 100,000 pesos a month in poverty. They can't afford their medicines. These are the grandparents of the children that jumped the turnstiles and bravely protested this fare hike. Those are the grandparents of those children, of those youth that were attacked savagely by the police on camera. Tear gas was thrown inside the train stations. Then the government dared to apply the national state security law, because that's what that government and the other governments before and after 1999 had been doing with protesters and with the Mapuche people during these past 30 years. They've been applying the national security state laws against them. The national security state laws that were created under Pinochet. I spoke with union leaders in Chile on the phone, and they said we've been living what's called a civil dictatorship during these past 30 years. And the vast majority of people in Chile are sick and tired of everybody up there, all of those political parties. The parliament earns 33 times more than the minimum wage. They're asking them to reduce their own salaries. What do? They end up raising it. Right now, no, they're scared. They're scrambling. They're scared. Now they're saying, no, we're going to reduce our salaries down. No, right now, the popular organizations are demanding neighborhood meetings, popular assemblies, Asamblea Constituyente, constitutional assemblies to define their own future. And Pinochet sends troops to the streets and declares war on Chilean people. Nunca más.
Nunca más.
Nunca más en Chile.
Nunca más en Chile.
Nunca más en Chile.
Nunca más en Chile.
Para la represión.
Para la represión.
Tropa fuera de la calle.
Tropa fuera de la calle.
Renuncia a Piñera.
Renuncia a Piñera.
Renuncia a Chávez.
Renuncia a Piñera. 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 Renuncia a Piñera.
Renuncia a Piñera.
Que se salva ninguno, güey.
Tú allá también.
Dejen de abrazar a los hijos culiados, por favor.
Buenos días compañeras y compañeros. Qué lindo verlos aquí reunidos hoy. A todos nos convoca algo bastante triste que a todos nos tiene consternados, que está pasando en nuestro país. Y quisiera hablar un poco también de la parte positiva, porque sí hay muertos y sí hay militares en las calles, cuando nosotros habíamos dicho hace muchos años que ya no queríamos ver más militares en la calle. Todo Chile lo dijo y todo Chile lo sigue repitiendo. No más militares en las calles. Pero también quería hablarles de la organización, de la gente, de ver a todo el país levantado, incluso gente que es de derecha, que tiene pensamientos diferentes a los que teníamos los que luchábamos en los años 80 en contra de la dictadura. Hoy día también están en las calles solidarizando con un movimiento que dice no más al neoliberalismo que se impuso durante los años de Pinochet, un modelo económico que no lo elegimos los chilenos, militares que no los queremos más en las calles. Y la gente hoy se ha levantado como nunca en Chile, en todo el país, algo que comenzó en Santiago, pero que se ha ramificado por todo el país, porque todo Chile está cansado de los abusos, de la corrupción, del robo, de que las ganancias del país, de que el dinero del país, de que nuestros recursos estén en las manos de unos pocos. Ya basta. Basta, la gente se ha levantado porque está cansada, porque ya no aguanta un sistema de injusticia que se repite uno y otro día. Así es que nosotros también aquí en San Francisco estamos presentes para decir basta, basta a los abusos, basta a que unas familias sean dueñas de todo un país. El país nos pertenece a todos, los recursos nos pertenecen a todos y vamos a salir adelante, vamos a sacar a esta cáfila de ladrones que están en el poder y se necesita un cambio de sistema. No queremos migajas, no queremos el aumento miserable del salario mínimo. Queremos reformas reales, queremos un país nuevo, queremos a la gente participando en una democracia de verdad. Para que nunca más. Gracias.
Quiero decir algo antes de entregar el micrófono a otra persona. I want to say something before I hand over the microphone to someone else. One of the organizations that's participating in these protests se llama No Más AFP. No more AFP. AFP is retirement, the retirement plan. The privatized retirement. There's two systems of retirement in Chile. There's one that is after working 35 years. Hold on a second. First, there's one under which the military and the police enjoy, where after 20 years they have a full retirement. They live a really great life, and in fact, they can pass on that retirement to their widow and their elderly unmarried daughter. Okay, after 20 years, there's another retirement for the vast majority, for the 80% of the rest of the people, where they are forced to contribute to. It's called defined contribution plans. Does that sound familiar? Defined contribution plans. That means that you know how much you're going to put in, but you don't know what you're going to get out. Okay, this is something I'm speaking as a rank and file member of UPI, Union of Professional and Technical Employees, CWA 9119. I'm speaking as a rank and file member, and John West is here as well. We passed a resolution last March during the protest of No Más AFP happening in Chile, a resolution at our convention. Our union represents 15,000 workers of the University of California system. We were in the middle of contract negotiations, and the University of California was trying to take away our pensions, undermine them by imposing an opt-out version for new employees, an opt-out version for those famous 401ks under Fidelity Investments, which charges 6,000% in fees, $1 billion to the University of California, which happens to be our university. So what's going on in Chile is also going on here. In fact, they started there 40 years ago, so we have a lot to learn from their experience. That was the test tube. Now we're being attacked as well. The workers in the United States are being attacked as well. So this is not only about solidarity.
This is our signs here. The world is watching. Basically, this is a military against the people on the streets of Chile situation, sanctioned by President Sebastián Piñera. And most of the demonstrations are extremely peaceful. we're talking 100,000 people on the streets of Santiago and being confronted by tanks, pepper sprayed, hosed down. Lots of people are injured with bullets, like the rubber bullets, hitting their faces. And Chile is supposed to be this model of, you know, the oasis of Latin America. It's supposed to be where capitalism really worked. And here we're seeing that most people in Chile are saying, no, it hasn't worked. It's not working. People have been striking and demanding for a very long time for every singular issue that's wrong. But now it's like the last straw that broke the camel's back was this fare, this public transportation fare. And people are out on the streets just completely together because of all the different reasons that the country's system is just not working for them. Yeah.
And privatization, what has been the effect of privatization in Chile?
Privatization, I mean, since the Pinochet dictatorship privatized everything, water, privatization of land, and just the fact that, you know, if the United States, you know, continues the way that it is with this unruled capitalism, this unregulated capitalism, it's going to end up where Chile is at, which is that there's going to be a huge wage gap where most people don't make enough money to just live. The people can't afford public transportation. Grocery stores have credit cards. Like, imagine going into a Safeway and the Safeway having a credit card for you, or any kind of major grocery store. People are indebted with the grocery store, they're indebted with the gas station, they're indebted, so it's like a fake middle class that's been growing, that the Chilean government has, whether it's a left-wing government or a right-wing government, it doesn't matter, because it's within the same constitution that General Pinochet's regime put into place back in the 80s.
And the United States, what role does it play, the United States in Chile? What role does the United States play in Chile?
What role? Well, the role of the United States is this, in my opinion. The whole world needs the United States to become a lot more progressive, to elect leadership that has the rest of the world in mind. Because even if Chile does become more progressive and we're able to change our constitution and we're able to create a government that really is for the people and not for corporations and the elite class, then we still can have what happened in '73, which was a US-backed military coup in Chile. So the people are not safe. Even if we create the government of our dreams, like we tried to in the early 70s with Allende, the United States has such world power that unless the United States elects somebody very progressive outside of the traditional Milton Friedman, you know, unregulated capitalistic model that's left people here with this health care crisis where people are going into debt for being sick, you know, unable to afford insurance, the minimum wage not allowing people to pay for, you know, living with the homelessness crisis right here in San Francisco. Yes. If we are continuing this direction, this United States is going to be the next Chile, and without the United States changing, Chile could have another US-backed, not just a coup, but the new US politics, which are going in and funding right-wing governments underground, like CIA style. And, you know, this is an unpopular opinion for some, but I mean, that's how a lot of governments, right-wing governments, are getting elected in Latin America, is because the United States is really supporting them financially and instructing them how to get elected, and the kind of rhetoric to put out there. Brazil, Venezuela, yeah, like all the unrest. So the other issue in Chile is the media. I think that my cousins, my family in Chile, what they want people to really hear here in the United States is don't listen to the mainstream news, which is all Chilean news, basically, with the exception of a few independent radios. Listen to what people on the streets are posting on social media. Just watch that. That's the reality, because the mainstream media in Chile is not covering what's really happening. They have a very government, you know, approved, government-sanctioned way of the rhetoric and the communication style and what they're focusing the news on. That is not the reality of the majority of the people who are what they're experiencing out in the streets right now.